Hey guys, what's going on? This is G for Light Dark Academy, and today I wanted to drive you through the hierarchy that you will find in a visual effects production. And this is on the artist side, because in every production there is a production side, obviously, and there's an artistic side. The artists are obviously the ones that actually use the software to make the movies, and on the production side there is all the people that coordinates the artist and everything that needs to be done in order to meet the deadlines and be sure that everything is done on time. So as far as the artistic side, there are two main ways that you can start your career in visual effects. One is through being an intern. So what it means is you join a school, and then after the school has programs with the visual effects houses, and basically you get there for a period of time, and after this period of time either you look for a job or the company might take you right to work with them. And the other way to get into the industry is being a runner. A runner basically is not really in production yet, but it's basically helping out managing the facility. So anything that is from even washing dishes or taking care of the rooms or helping the coordinators or anything that really helps other people in doing their job faster, it's a way of starting. After being a runner or after being an intern, you might start to work in production as a junior. Then as a junior you will be given shots, tasks that are not so complicated, and you will be under the guide of a lead. And this is true also for mid artists and senior artists. So the hierarchy is junior, mid, senior, and then there is lead artist. And after the lead artist there is the CG, computer graphics supervisor, and then there might be a DFX supervisor, digital effects supervisor, and then at the end there is the visual effects supervisor. Between the lead and the digital effects supervisor there might also be a lighting supervisor, or according to each department there might be for example an effects supervisor or an animator supervisor. So each department might have a supervisor. That's not true in every facility. So each department has a junior, mid, and senior artists, and then one or more leads according to the size of the project. If there is a lot of people involved, then you want more leads. Or other projects are structured in teams, so each team has its own lead, and they might also have its own CG supervisor. And this is per department. So in the effects department there will be other leads, and in the animation department there will be other leads, and so forth and so on. So basically it's a very structured hierarchy, because there is a lot of complexity, and obviously there is a lot of management involved to make sure that things are communicated between the department and are also made on time. And this is greatly helped by the coordinators, the production people. They really help a lot the leads to finish their job or to request the things they need from other departments. And being in lighting, this happens a lot, as if you have seen the visual effects pipeline videos, you will understand that the lighting is under a lot of deliveries. So it really requires strong coordinators to make sure that everything that needs to be on the lighting plate is there on time. So the CG supervisor takes care of basically figuring out solutions for each department from a technical standpoint. What that means is that if, for example, the effects department has a problem and they are not able to fix an issue, the CG supervisor can step in and find solutions for that. And in general is taking care of basically the whole production as a whole. So it takes care of each department, it goes through each department and make sure that each department is progressing, and then gets into the technical side of things as well if needed. After the CG supervisor, there is the digital effects supervisor, which is a relatively new position in the visual effects pipeline. And the digital effects supervisor is a sort of a in between the CG supervisor and the visual effects supervisor. It might be more involved into the compositing side of things, so the actual finaling before showing the client or before showing the visual effects supervisor. In some instances, it speaks for the visual effects supervisor. Supervisor. Now, the Visual Effects Supervisor can be one or can be more. There is definitely one that is basically taking care of the whole movie, even if there is different facilities that work on the same movie. So each facility might have their own teams, but the Visual Effects Supervisor for the main production is basically usually one, or they might be two, and they take care of checking and supervising the whole work of every facility. And each facility might also have its own Visual Effects Supervisor that then talks to the production Visual Effects Supervisor. So the way that the progress is monitored is through dailies. And the dailies are done usually in a theater where the shots of the day are projected, and basically where the CG supervisor, the Visual Effects Supervisor, or the DFX Supervisor basically give notes. And these notes are then basically written down by the coordinators that pass them to the artists. So when you go back to your desk, you basically have your notes, even though most of the coordinators are not very technical, and so it's always a good thing to write your own notes. If you are starting out your 3D career, or even if you are just studying at home on your own, it's a good practice to start looking at your image that you are doing and writing down some notes. Every time you look at the image, maybe let pass a few hours, or let even a day or two, then write down what you think about the image. What this will do for you is that you will know exactly where you wanted to change the image the day after. And this is really important because we'll make sure that you have progress every day. As I explained in the previous video, it's important to structure your mind to a project-oriented, task-oriented way of working. If you want to reach a goal with this image, every day you take notes by yourself and write them down and then get them done. Every day there are rounds, so the lead might come around and check with people what they've done, what are the problems, and basically takes care of checking that his department, his team is progressing fine. And then he communicates all the time with the CG supervisor, and if there is technical issues, leads and CG supervisor usually try to find the solution if the team has difficulties and can't go on their own. Now, across the departments, there must be a lot of communication. As you have seen in the pipeline videos, there is a lot of exchanging between each department. Even if the pipeline is well structured and you don't literally need to copy files from other departments, everything is streamlined, you still need to talk to the other departments and make sure that if there is a problem, they are aware of that. A lot of troubles in the productions are caused by people not speaking out, not going straight to the department and talking to the leads or even to the CG supervisor, just waiting that things happen or that things get fixed. So even in this regard, it's important to be aware that this is a huge teamwork, and the more people talk between them, the faster everything goes. In some facilities, the rounds are not actually done in person, but everything is done remotely. So you basically connect your computer to a live session, to a webcam session, and there is the supervisor there that checks your shot and gives you notes. What this means is that people don't have to spend their time in the theater while other people's shots are shown, because in a day there might be a lot of shots, and you know, if you have to work on something that is urgent, you don't really want to spend too much time in theater to watch maybe other people's shots, especially if it's a different sequence on which you don't have to work. And so this way of doing things is a little bit more efficient probably, but on the other side you are never really aware of the progress of the whole sequence or all the other shots, and it's a little bit tricky from time to time to actually make sure that you are up to date with everything that is happening. So while you go higher in the hierarchy, your specificity is gonna be less and less. And what I mean with that is that even if you start as a generalist, then you might pick up a specialization during your career in the visual effects. Like if you wanna be a lighter, you wanna be an animator or a modeler, and so forth and so on. But while you go higher in the hierarchy, your role will be more and more that of managing other people and looking at the production as a whole and taking care of timelines and deadlines and making sure that the technical issues that the production has will not actually create problems to the delivery. And that's exactly what supervisor means in the end. So you will supervise, but you will less and less work on your own shots, especially when you pass the CG supervisor role. Then after that there is a lot of management, there is a lot of supervising and discussing things and meetings and the dailies and rounds, and even as a lead that takes a big part of your day, especially in some facilities more than in others. But in general you are more involved into the managerial side of things. This is important to know because a lot of people don't understand that, but as in any other company, as in any other big company, you will need to basically get your specificity go in favor of acquiring more managerial skills. If you want to be in visual effects and you want to have a career in visual effects, that's where you will probably end up being. A lot of people don't care of pursuing a career in visual effects. They just want to do their job because they believe that otherwise they will lose that technical bite that you keep refining and refining when you have to do the dirty job. And while you go higher, you are more of a manager and less of a skilled worker. And even if managing people is a completely different set of skills, still some people don't like to do that. There are situations that are hard to manage when you are late, when somebody makes a request and you don't have a lot of time to fulfill that request, and or there is a technical issue that you don't know how to solve. And this is something that is really personal. It depends on what you like, what your goals are, and what you feel comfortable with as well. One other thing I want to tell you is that the visual effects supervisor is the one that talks to the client. So nobody usually talks to the client until up the digital effects supervisor or the visual effects supervisor. And even if there is a facility visual effects supervisor, that does not mean that that visual effects supervisor will talk to the client. Sometimes it just talks to the production visual effects supervisor that then talks to the client. So as you can see, the hierarchy is pretty complicated. There is a lot of people that take decisions, and there is a lot of tasks that needs to be done, a lot of communication needs to happen, and it depends really on the project, but each department can have a lot of people. So the hierarchy scales according to the project size as well. Obviously, if you have 5 teams of 20 people each, that's a lot of people to manage for only one lead, so you need 2 or more leads, and so forth and so on. Usually there is 1 or 2 CG supervisor. In animated features there might be more, and the way that everything is structured is also based on the sequence, on the content of the movie. Okay, that's it. So I wanted to give you just an overview of how the hierarchy is structured and let you know basically how everything works. So I hope this was helpful, and if you like this video, please like it and leave some comments below, share the videos with your friends, and please subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye.